You're good.
Oh, there go doctor.
I'm doing the
All righty, we're live. Hey guys, hello, Facebook Live, StreamYard,
Valencia mode.
Atlanta, Georgia, people all over the nation. How are you? To, Today we are right in the middle of King Talks, which would be our Counsel of Kings. I feel like the most blessed woman around Atlanta. I have in my midst, by way of Nikki Regan's Reality Check Empowerment Zone. I have a room full of handsome, intelligent gentlemen that are about to set this conversation off. So, again, welcome, welcome to the night of King Council. Are you guys ready? Yes?
Absolutely.
Yes, as ready as
Beautiful.
we gonna be.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. So here is the deal. I'm going to ask you to do something different because this is a different kind of time. Our conversation tonight is going to talk about the pandemic, which I call the plandemic, but the pandemic that is literally sweeping our nation and our community. And I'm going to ask Dr. Riggins to get ready because I'm going to put a little bit more on his plate in a minute. I'm going to ask him to just succinctly give us the difference between the pandemic and epidemic and outbreak. All right. When he talks, because he's going to give us a full picture of what's really going on right now. But in order for us to combat this pandemic mentality, we have to do a different thing because we want a different result. So, with all of these men in the room, all of these men in the room, I'm going to ask you to start off this interaction by closing your eyes as I render this message. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
You trust me?
Tonight, yes.
That'll be good. It's good enough.
Kind of.
I'll take what I can get for a start because that is going to be key. Trust between all of us is going to be key to the change. So I'm not
Yes.
mad at it. I'll take it. All right. So for all of those live, I'm going to read you this poem. It's called Just in Case of Emergency. Okay. Are you guys ready? All right. When your dreams are in danger and your prayers seemingly have gone unanswered, remember that I love you. When times are tough and the emotional erosion occurs, remember that I love you. And when you are happy and feeling the fullness of joy of life right then, remember that I love you. And during those times, this time, all time, hard times, trying times, crucial times, death times, dying times, all the time, let my love carry you. And remember, let it light you. And remember, let it encourage you. And remember that I love you when the questions are many and the task is so great. And just in case the danger awaits and there is an emergency, know in your heart, I am standing and you should be remembering that I love you. Gentlemen, open your eyes. Now, you had a moment to sit with the thought of loving those around you. And this forum is about loving our sons. And we know that loving our sons is not just loving the son that's in your house. So as we render this conversation, as we render these moments in this next 60 minutes, right? Because that our 60 seconds is it just takes a minute. It only takes a minute. There's only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon us right now. We can't abuse it. We didn't seek it. We didn't choose it. But it's up to us to use it. We have to give account if we abuse it. It's just a tiny little minute, but the eternity for our sons is in it. That's Benjamin E. May. Little tweet, but Benjamin E. May. So I'm going to ask you, as you answer these questions, to answer them based on the fact that we are a state of emergency that we just have a minute to get this thing right. We just have a minute. I think that we're going to also give a little musical undertone, something that will again take your mind to where we're going. And I think our host, empowerment zone host, Miss Nikki, are you ready with that?
I am. I was born by the river in a little town. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Said it's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's out there beyond the skies. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will, oh, yes it will. Well, I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me, they're telling me, don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know change is gonna come. Oh, change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Oh, then I go to my brother. I say, brother, help me, please, oh. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees, oh. There've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
Coming, the change.
You're back. We're back.
Yeah, that's ringing in my spirit. It's been a long time coming, but I believe this is the time that the change is going to come. So I see these prevalent kings right now. You are definitely have been put into the mindset or supported in the mindset that you already had. That is why you're here. So, kings, I am going to ask right now. I think I'm going to start with you, Doc. And the question on the table is, how do we raise our sons in the midst of two pandemics, a social pandemic and a medical pandemic? And definitely wanted you to reiterate, set the stage for us about what the time is, because that's what that song talked about. What time is it right now? And all the things that these men have been through, these young boys have been through. So, Doc, to you, in an epidemic, outbreak, pandemic, what time are we in right now? And then what is your take on how we raise our sons in this time?
Unmute yourself. Doc, unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm just going to town. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. And talks about framing the difference between a
Yeah, you're
what
frozen.
you have to understand is we're talking about illness.
Right.
I'm frozen.
No,
Okay.
you're good now. You're on the farm, I know.
Okay. What do I?
No, you're good. Keep talking.
I'm good now. Okay. Yeah, really. Outbreak
Yes,
is
you're
just
good, sir.
an outbreak is when you have infection in a geographic area, such as your city. Epidemic is when that geographic area of infection spreads to maybe a state. A pandemic, okay, so that's one globally across the whole world.
Right.
Then you have the social pandemic. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. We're right with you on the social pandemic part.
Uh-oh,
Okay.
Daddy. Uh-oh, Daddy. I think, is it? Okay, there you're clear again.
Doc, you got the juice over there.
Let me try.
Okay, so we're gonna let Dr. Riggins. He has some juice today. I see it because it doesn't want to come through. So we're gonna let him take a minute and see if he can. Doctor, you can mute yourself while we're in position.
I got him.
You got it. Thank you so much. So Dr. Riggins, world-renowned doctor, is going to be with us in just a minute. He's checking his connection. And so, Doc, while you try that out, I'm going to go right back. You want to wait?
I'm good to go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, good. So social pandemic is what we're seeing right now.
Right.
And we have a situation where you have one on top of the other and Black people are totally being bombarded. It's like being in a fight with like 3 or 4 people jumping in on you. The main thing I think we need to focus on is a strategy. First, your health. Without your health, social has nothing to do. So we need to come up with a way to keep yourself safe, uninfected, and at the same time, keep your family safe.
Got it.
Then you deal with the social aspect. And when you deal with the social aspect, I'm so encouraged by the young people. Your generation is taking charge and doing things that my generation didn't do. You just see 65-year-olds out there, marching for, protesting for George Floyd. But we saw the young people do it. So I'm encouraged by that. The energy, the tenacity to say enough is enough. So when you're raising young boys, remind them of their kinghood, who they are, their lineage, where they come from, what they're made of, and that'll help them fuel their decisions to take action in a positive way.
I love it. I love it. I love it, Doc. So I'm gonna kind of turn the wheel a little bit before we get to Mr. Burrell, Mr. Donald Burrell, and I'm gonna ask. Doc talked about telling them telling these young guys about kinghood, about the kinghood. And so I want to explore that a little bit because we have to go foundational. The first thing he said is you got to take care of your health. So foundationally, how do we lay the foundation about being kings? I never tell my young nephews you're a good black man. I say you're a good man because if you're a good man, you're a good man of any color. The things that make you a good man make you a good man. So tell me,
Okay,
what
Valencia,
would
it
you
sounds like
say?
that's you.
What would you
Something's
say?
echoing on your side.
Okay. What would you say is a way to take a look at the kinghood?
Donald, pause. Something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's try it again, Donald. Let's try it again. Let's see, 2.0. I think we lost. Oh no, he's back. Donald, we can't hear you.
Okay, there you go.
Nope, can't hear you. 2.0, did you hear the question that Dr. V asked?
Terrell, how would you, because you're an artist, so let's give kudos for Mr. Terrell. I didn't get to kudos Mr. Burrell, but so we'll come back with him. But Terrell, kudos for you for your artistry in the area of advocacy, and I know that you are you said a Christian rapper, but and I also know that you speak to social issues as well. Tell me, how would you support the idea of kinghood? Because we're talking about laying a foundation for these young men.
Well, funny story. I actually am a part of a royal family. So
okay.
my father is a prince, and my grandfather is a renowned king. He actually helped Nigeria get their independence.
Wow.
And so one of the things that I didn't grow up rich, but my dad, he did, like in a palace and drivers and all kind of fancy cars and stuff. But one of the things that he did give to me was two things: a level of discipline, and then a level of integrity to understand that I can't function like everybody else can. It would be times like in Nigeria, they play soccer and tennis like we play basketball and football over here. So I grew up at Washington Park Tennis Center downtown. It's, those of us from Atlanta may know Washington Park for other reasons, but it has a very rich tennis history too. But like we'd be at the park over the summer. I go to summer camps, and my dad was a director there, and the kids would, lunchtime they go playing around on the track and in the park and all kind of stuff, and my dad would make me sit inside, and I hated it. And he was like, "You're my son. You can't do what everybody else is doing." And it took me until I got to like 30 to really appreciate and understand what he was doing. And what that built in me was a resilience to FOMO. I didn't have I still dealt with the fear of missing out, but because I realized that what I had to do, what I had to accomplish, my name, I couldn't, not that I was better than anybody else, but there were some things that because of who I was, I just wasn't allowed to do or get entangled with. And so I think that is one of the things that not only do I try to instill in my kids, but I think is very important for us as men to have, because we are influential. We are, in most cases, the head of the household. We are, the influencer in our classrooms. We are the leaders. We are whether we want to be or not. And so being responsible and knowing that somebody's looking up to you, whether it's your lady, or it's your kid, or if it's your your elder family member, or if it's just your peers, being responsible for their influence, knowing that I can't make the same decisions as everybody else is because I have to deal with the responsibility attached to it. And so, yeah, I think that is something that's pretty much paramount to raising a son, especially in today's times.
Terrell, you gave us a perfect backdrop, and you set us up to put us in the mind space of who we are or who these young boys are. Okay. And I'm saying we because I realize that as a queen, as princesses, I realize that the women, the ladies are in direct relationship to the kinghood.
Mm-hmm.
It's not separated, even though we have been trying to separate them all these years in order to repair them. We cannot. We have to repair them on level ground because we need the vibrations each of the other.
Mm-hmm.
We need it. We need it. So, and I like that you said something about a name, because a good name is better to be favored. What?
Yeah.
Than silver and gold.
That's
You better say
gold.
that. All right, Gigi, come on, G, because I'm going to ask you this question, G. You have 30 seconds in the elevator. Tell me, define for me, what is a king?
All right. Can you hear me, first of all?
I got you.
Okay. All right, good. What is a king? A king is not just someone, but it's something. It's royalty, it's strength, it's power. It's everything that encompasses who you are as a being and your purpose. Your purpose. And the purpose is not to just rule over many, but it's to be an influence and empower those who look for guidance from you.
I like it. So we have our health as foundational. We
Yeah.
have our thought process happening now. We have a definition of who we are as as kings. As kings, I think we got Mr. Burrell back on. Got you. We get you.
Yes.
I love it. I love it when the plan comes together. Okay. All right. So we've talked a little bit about the physical part. We're talking a little bit about the mental part. I'm going to ask you. Let me put a pin right here. As a proponent of my ideal man, I would say that Martin and Malcolm, I like them together as one human. I'm definitely a little more prone to Malcolm though, because I do have a little fire in me. I can't even I have to tell the truth about it. So I do. Yeah. Common is my guy. I like that little in him. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna ask you, sir. We got a definition. Gigi said that this is not even something that you put on and you take off. It embodies your standard, becomes who you are. Now I'm going to ask you, give me 2 qualities that a king must have, non-negotiable.
That's on you, Donald.
Oh, that
You
was
ready?
me. I thought she said Gigi. I'm sorry.
Gigi
No,
set us
that's
up, and I'm
yeah, you.
leading in because you're dancing over there now since all your stuff is like on fire. Come on.
Let's go.
The first one would be standard. You have to have a minimum standard of something.
Okay.
Second would be the integrity of that standard. Now, I say that because if you have a standard but you never uphold it, you don't ever see where it fits because you're scared of being different. You're scared of being the difference of everybody else. You're scared to be the one that, oh, you're just doing this because you think you're so much. Well, unfortunately, I am so much. And it comes with a price. It comes with a cost. It comes with the ability to say that I am this king that is walking to and fro. my God made me a lowercase king as he is. So if I resemble myself as a king's kid, how does a king's kid act?
Ah,
So we have to maintain a certain standard, teach our young kings a certain standard. So as you know, I'm hating these skinny jeans. I try to tell my kids, hey, or sons, I should say kids, these skinny jeans are not befitting of a king. But I do understand we all have to grow to a certain point, because my biggest thing is, why do you have to look like everybody else? Where do you set yourself apart and show forth who you are? Everybody can blend. My biggest thing that I learned as a teenager from um not a young man, he was an older man in my church, was be the original copy of God that you are.
oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
Being you is hard to find. Being somebody else because they're there is easy to be. But when do you blaze the trail of being you? Because your life, your purpose, your destiny, your whole presence is there for a reason. It may not show up in the first 25 years, it may not show up in the next 25, but at some point it's going to come all together to be what it needs to be for whomever it's supposed to affect. So as a king, you have to uphold that.
I love it. So, thank you for that. Thank you, thank you. So what we have said so far is, in order to combat the pandemic, we definitely are going to give attention. And Doc, I'm going to roll back to you in a little bit, and I'm going to ask you some best practices for taking care of yourself physically in the pandemic. Um, we talked to Terrell about your thought pattern. Terrell, I'm going to ask you for something concrete that is going to tell a young king how to guide his mind. Um, Gigi, I'm going to ask you about, so these are what we want you to speak to. When this young man leaves this platform, whomever he is watching, I want him to be able to say, oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to define myself by doing this. Oh, I can do this. You see where we're headed, gentlemen?
Yeah.
All right. So, Nikki, I also know that we are going to take a lens, this view the kaleidoscope lens a little bit right now, because we also want to take a look at the flip side. We had all these positive things that have happened, and I know we want to take a flip side of the things that are happening during the pandemic. And so we have Officer Righteous with us as well. He is going to share a comment after the video. Is that correct?
Well, before we get to the video, we're gonna I'm gonna chime in with the why
Okay.
this particular conversation is happening.
Okay,
And this
beautiful.
particular conversation is happening because of my son. I recently went to bury my aunt who passed
Yes.
from COVID.
Yes.
While I was there, I got a call from my son, distraught because his friend died at the was killed by police because they mistook the car that they were in for a stolen vehicle. The boys were scared. They ran. They got shot. This particular kid got shot and he died.
Yes.
And my son was distraught. He's dealing with both issues: an aunt that he loves dearly and his high school friend. Both died from different things. You know, and of course people are saying, oh, you shouldn't be afraid of the police, you shouldn't run. Well, unfortunately, based on what we see on TV, on the television, you got a 50-50 shot depending on the officer that stops you. As to whether or not you know, and yes, I have Officer Righteous here, and Officer Righteous is a father of a Black son. So, and I changed his name. That isn't his name. So those of you who know him know that that's his name, but I'm doing that to protect him.
Yes.
Yeah, because I have to protect those that we care about and that we and the reason why is because somebody reached out to me from Alabama to support an officer, an African American female officer, law enforcement officer, who was a federal officer, who was stopped in Blount County, Alabama. Now, if you don't know anything about Blount County, Alabama, that's
Keep it
not
that way.
really, yeah, that's not where you trying to hang out. You just not trying to hang out. Even in 2020, you're not trying to hang out. We don't look the part to hang out there. And so I'm going to show one of her a statement that she made. I'm not going to show the whole video because her video is about 20 minutes long and we don't have that kind of time. But I am going to show her video of what she had to say, and it was definitely interesting. So we're gonna flip to that right now.
So as we are kind of getting this in line, this young officer was actually not only a career officer, her family is everybody's part of the police force, and her dad, I believe, is actually history making in Alabama. Correct, Nikki?
Correct. I'm sorry, I couldn't get the video
Yes.
to show
Yes.
to do the sound. But yes, her father was the first African American chief of police in Birmingham, Alabama.
Absolutely. And so that's impactful, though, to think about the fact that it's generational, that she has that sense of protection in her blood generationally, and then somebody kind of clips that for her or literally threatens that. And I think it's impactful. Officer Righteous, get ready, because it is really impactful. We were talking earlier about the generations in the room. I believe Dr. Riggins is a great grandfather. Terrell's a new father. Gigi's a grandfather. Everybody, Officer Righteous is a dad. I believe Mr. Burrell can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe that's what was said to me. Is that correct? So everybody has this generational energy in the room for fatherhood and for taking care of their sons. So, Officer Righteous, we're going to kind of put you in this slot right here to talk about the pandemic from that lens of not only fatherhood, but being a law enforcement officer as well. So we're going to open up the door for that conversation right here.
All right.
You hear me?
Yes.
You ready? Great. Beautiful.
Yes, ma'am. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you guys.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So, I mean, as a whole, first, of course, as you see me, I am a black man, and then I am an officer. Second, I wake up black every day, and I wake up an officer. It's totally different. Dealing with some of the stuff here, you have your own race saying, hey, put down what you're doing and come support what I'm doing. At the same time, I hear you, but I have a family. So it's a juggling act. Yes, I do. I know some of the stuff that was going on was wrong. And I love my family as well. Family, officer, how just how it. So
You're back.
You're back.
Am I still there?
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
You're
still
good.
here. So let me ask you, Jarvis, Officer Righteous, when it comes to best practices to navigating, I mean, because at this point, it, you know, depending on the officer, it really depends on the character of the officer wearing the uniform that determines what your interaction is going to be with law enforcement that particular day. And I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've experienced it. I mean, you haven't been an officer forever. But
Not at all.
you know, with this particular officer who, until they saw that she was in uniform, it was going to go a different way. Because she actually made a complaint to the chief of police. And when she made that complaint to the chief of police, you know, of course, she had to take the video down that we were trying to play, which might be why some of the sound wasn't playing. But, you know, she had to take it down because she was in uniform and everything else. But the fact remains, we all know officers that shouldn't have a badge. Like, I know some friends of mine that I went to college with, and I'm very concerned that somebody decided to give them a gun and a badge. I don't know what they saw, but I didn't see it. You know, it's real dangerous that they have a gun and a badge. And but what do I say? Because honestly, I was afraid to teach my son how to drive. He just graduated from high school with all these honors and awards, but he doesn't have his driver's license because I was afraid of an interaction with a police officer that I can't control. I can't navigate. I can't tell him how to navigate. So guess what? I'm just not going to teach you how to drive. Now, is that fair to him? No, it's not fair to him. But I didn't have another solution to keeping him alive. And that's really how I felt. And so hence the Counsel of Kings, the advice of kings, we had to talk to our kings on how do we navigate this. You know, my daddy, you know, yeah, he's Doc, but he's my daddy first. But that wasn't something that he necessarily, even when we moved to Anniston, Alabama, he really didn't have to deal with that as much. But we did have to, you know, but I don't know how to navigate that. I don't know how to tell him. I don't know. And if it's happening to officers in uniform, you know.
So what do you say to your son, basically?
One thing So one thing I always look at is as a law enforcement, I'll take a step back from Dad and I'll point you through law enforcement, and I will tell you exactly what I would tell my son. In law enforcement, they always tell you as soon as you get comfortable, you need to quit. A lot of guys start to feel comfortable. They start to feel like that badge can protect me, that gun can protect me, and it really doesn't. Especially during this time, a badge and gun really is just a bullseye on you. I rarely ever carry my badge. Now, do I have a gun? It's not for show and tell. It's for my family because I don't know what everybody else is doing. But what I always tell anybody that's driving is you're never going to make an officer comfortable, but you can help them be a little bit as ease, so you're not seeing them walk up to your car with their hand on their gun. If you know you have tinted windows, you know that your own sister and your own brother can't see you in your car with your tinted windows. So you know you got tinted windows. Roll your windows down. Keep your hands on your steering wheel. When people pull you over, they be like, "Oh, I'm gonna hurry up and get my license out." Don't try to reach for anything because they're already looking through your car trying to see what's going on. If they see a whole bunch of movement going on, they're like, "Oh, okay. Can I go ahead and have backup?" And they're already on edge. They're already on edge stopping a car that they don't know about anyway. So when you start moving around, they're on a higher higher alert, I should say.
Yeah.
I stop cars every day. I stop trucks every day. I'm at ease every time I stop a car. But as long as I can see you, I feel not comfortable, but I feel a little bit better. It's when I'm walking up to a car and I can't see anything. You got tinted windows, you got your little baby curtain hiding windows. I can't see anything. I can't see your hands. You moving around a lot. That's when you make me antsy, and that's when I say, "Hey, can you put your hand somewhere where I can see it?"
That's a good
And that's on the
answer.
officer side of it. If my children, my son, he's nowhere near able to drive. If he tries to drive his little car at the house and he runs over everything, so I'm glad he's not able to drive. But for my son, I say, hey, drive. If somebody pulls you over, an officer, male, female, black, white, doesn't matter. Keep your hands on your steering wheel. Roll all windows down. When they say, hey, can I have your driving license? Yes, you can. Tell them where it's at and be like, hey, look, it's in my left back pocket. It's in my left front pocket. I had a guy that tries to walk me through everything, and I'm like, yo, I'm fine. You're not making me uncomfortable. Just do what you have to do. I don't want to hear step by step, second by second. I don't want to hear that. But just if the thing is, if you tell me where it's at, move slow and get it. Don't rush to do anything. That's one thing is in this time frame, you see a lot of people rushing to do stuff. And then you be like, and then you rush to do something, and then the officer comeback is they only have a split second to make a
Right.
decision. So
Yep.
stop if you know that's their go-to thing, stop rushing. Just slow down. Let's take a breath and be like, all right, look, this is what I'm about to do. Let's slow down. Let me see everything and take a breath.
I never thought about that they're looking through the back of the window. I always told the girls to keep their hands on the steering wheel, but they're looking through the back of the window. When you're trying to get your license, it looks like you're doing a lot of stuff. Never thought about that like that.
It does.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool. That was a good nugget. Terrell, what do you tell your son in social pandemic? It's 401 years of social pandemic coming to a head. We're in the middle of an absolute protesting responses, but law changing responses too. What do you tell your son?
Well, funny enough, I wrote a song about it. Called it "A Letter to My Son," and basically,
I
I
love
just
that.
shared a lot of practical things. A lot of practical things to remove the to kind of go against the ideologies
Okay.
that I'm a threat in this way. So if you're gonna be threatened by me, be threatened by me because you provoke me. Don't be threatened by me because I'm just walking down the street holding a bag of Skittles or drinking an Arizona tea. I have on an article of clothing that may not be your favorite or may not be your norm. And so what I told him through the song, because the reality of it is when I first had my son, who's 3 months old now, I had to realize that one day I may not make it home. It could very well be me that gets pulled over, and now I don't come home, and now my son has to grow up in this world without knowing how to navigate it, without his best chance to navigate it, which is me. And so in the song, like my mindset was give him all the game that I can. Like if you buy clothes, make sure you get a receipt so they don't think you stole. If don't trust people that, don't trust people just because they smile in your face. Always watch your back and take care of your mama and your sisters, and real simple things to most people that seem like, duh. But you got to think, if a young man doesn't have another man to not only tell him but to demonstrate that, then those are foreign ideas. That's why we got little boys hitting girls without even thinking twice about it, because their role models have hit females. Their OGs have hit females. Their dads have hit their moms. And so they're growing up with nobody telling them the simple things, or what some of us deem as simple and practical is foreign to them because ain't nobody told them. And so and even spending I spent a couple years and it's still a part of my heart working at Four Seasons, which is one of the last hoods in the city, over off of Moreland Avenue by the drive-in theater. And one of the biggest things I pretty much ended up mentoring the whole school. But one of the biggest things that I had to understand, and I learned very quickly, was that sometimes people don't do better because they've never seen better. So what we expect as to be a normal standard, everybody doesn't have that luxury. Everybody didn't grow up with a responsible man who, regardless of how they did it, they coming home and taking care of their family every night. Some people that like it's kids who ain't seen their dad in forever and he's still alive. Then there's other ones who dad, he was, one of my kids, his dad died when he was 2. Another one, he was in 4th grade and he was a rapper actually. And his dad got shot and killed by his girlfriend. And so he been cold-hearted ever since. I still think it's a glimmer of hope in him, but he's a Crip now. You know what I'm saying? And that was only 2 or 3 years ago. So, but the things that I try to share with them are, like I said, don't undervalue simple principles. Like, hey man, and I mean no offense to the ladies of the panel. I told them, listen, man, you don't have to hit a female to prove yourself. I said, what do your mama do when she get mad? She talking, she hollering, she cuss. What do your auntie do when she get mad? She talking, she hollering, she cuss. What do your little sister do when she get mad? She go to popping off. I said, man, if you just let them talk and get it out, it'll be all right in a few minutes. Just let it go. They not finna hurt you. Just let it go. But that's a mindset that if nobody introduces it to them, then they'll never know. So they respond how they've seen to respond, which is, don't talk to me like that. I'll bust you on your lip. And they will they proceed to hit females.
That's a great commentary. That's a great
so,
nugget. I definitely am not offended by you telling them not to grow and just to let them talk. It's okay. All right. No, it's your principle because the other person wants to be heard. So you are correct. Your delivery is beautifully delivered, and just so he could hear it. Just so he can hear it, right? So love it. So we are talking now about those concrete things. We heard some very concrete things. Jarvis told us not to literally make sure that we put up where they can be seen, right? That's I know that, but I never thought about not putting my hand down to get my license out. It's something you could tell a boy. That's something that you could tell a young man. Don't look for your license first. Follow the direction. Terrell just gave us a tidbit of a whole tip of listening, making sure that you're listening. That's a principle that you could give a young man in order to how to get through this pandemic is to be a good listener too. I'm going to ask you guys and I'm going to ask you, Donald, I'm going to ask you, what do you say as a father? What do you say to a fatherless young man?
For one, that you're worth a whole lot more than what you think. I was going to piggyback on what Terrell was saying based on telling our sons, our young men, even how to go forth. We have to be cognizant of what's in society nowadays. We are all on social media, we're in the news, and we hear the same old things over and over and over again. Oh, your dad's not worth nothing. Oh, this black man is not going
Thank
to do
you.
anything but rob, steal, kill. You have to instill in them and allow them to know that, I think my pastor says it best like this: it might be a reason why your father might not have been there. It could have been for your destiny purpose. It could have been for your it could have been for the sake of him being sane and not being um in worse off predicament, because some of us don't know why our father departed the scene.
Right.
We think that because of, once again, of societal demands, that he's no good. And then in some cases that's not the case. Sometimes it was, in Terrell's example, I just didn't want to hit her, so I just walked away completely. And nobody's told the story of how good your father could have been, or even I would go to the far stretch of, if you can reach your father, reach out and ask why, what happened. Because as I grew up in an all-female home with sisters, aunts, so I understand what Terrell was referring to. Um, you only get that perspective of the story. Oh, he wasn't no good. He wasn't there. But we never hear, was there anything that you might have done to provoke him to walk away? Not giving any man a pass, because I believe every man should stand up for their responsibility. But what if it was, yeah, he just, one night I pushed him to the max and I just realized it after it was too late. And so therefore I then created
Mm,
defense of saying he's no good, or
mm,
he didn't want to be around. Because I believe every father deep down on the inside wants to be able to say, this is
mm.
my legacy. This is the generational push that I had a hand in. So I would say to a fatherless child, try to find out why. Number two, you don't have to only rely just on your father. And I know, once again, sometimes it seems like it's very few and far in between, but find a man that you can relate to in your community. Doesn't have to be your best friend's father. It could be the neighbor right across the street. But we don't reach out anymore in our own neighborhoods to find out what we have sitting right here in our hands
Yes.
reach. And so I would say, reach out
Create
and
a
look
village.
and see. Correct. Because the day old saying is, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
Um, I would say reach out to that man and see, because I believe every man has a story. Every man has nuggets. Every man has advice. Every man has experiences that some may never have to deal with. So I would say reach out, become a part of a a, a community within a community, become a
Mm,
team. Most of us as men, we need to definitely get out our testosterone in some form. I played football, basketball, tried to play baseball growing up. These are outlets, and by default we have other men. We just don't employ those outlets, because now we only worry about our four and no more.
ah,
Our, oh, I just, I only have enough to worry about my three over here that got to eat, so I can't bring your two over here too. But what if it takes that? Sometimes somebody has to show the open door to say, listen, I'm willing to say, my day old saying is this. I remember my mother's neighborhood, or hearing stories of her neighborhood growing up. I wasn't there. Um, how one neighbor might have had grown greens in the backyard. Another one knew how to get meat. Another one had canned foods. And so they would all come together to make something happen.
yes.
We don't do that communal thing no more. We only, don't worry about me. I'm fine. I don't need nothing, because we're trying to uphold an image that sometimes, in most cases, is not relevant anyway. Because, no offense, Dr. Riggins, the older you get, you start realizing certain things aren't important. You start saying, hey, what does it take to get you over this hump so that we can see you grow? So once again, that fatherless child, I would just tell them, listen, strap on and let's ride. Find that
So,
man that you can actually put your hands on, sit down, listen, and take some advice and ride with him, and then honor him as a father.
I love it. That puts in the mind of a father of a society that is not fatherless, in your rendition, that there should not be a society where there are fatherless boys. And we have to have the conversation at some point about the fatherless girls, because whether we want to say it or not, those girls that have not been fathered directly affect the men directly. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother green fest. We're all around and around. But a great conversation. So we've talked about how threaded through this pandemic walk with the social part. Gigi, and Doc, I'm making my way back to you. Gigi, I want to ask you. We talked about the fatherless component, and Mr. Donald Burrell said to me that young man needs to find a person that in the pandemic can help him navigate. So may I ask you, as the father in the community, what is your practical responsibility to help out with the pandemic? What do you do as a father for those in the community?
Thanks for asking that. That's a very good question, and I want to commend the gentleman for being very real, 100%.
Yes.
And so that's important that we can be very transparent.
You're back, Jay.
Okay.
You're back.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Cool. So where I'm at right now, because there's growth before you can pour into anyone else. Before we can even get into that, there has to be growth within ourselves. But a few things I just want to talk about briefly. The first one is always going to be accountability. We have to be accountable for our actions. Individuals have to be accountable for their actions. And honor is another thing that I want to mention, because we talk about the importance of a father or father figure, but also with these young men, also with kids, they need to honor who takes care of them. That is so important, because you have parents that feel like they can't do nothing with them. And so that makes them feel like they don't want them. And so that carries over to other actions and activities. And so, there's always a source of what goes on. It's not just what we see all the time. Kids aren't just bad. They aren't just lost for any reason. They're not just angry and upset all the time for nothing. So there's things that happen prior to that, or even a buildup sometimes, and that's what happens. So all that being said, I think as men, especially for me, I mean, I'm 44 years old. I have a son who's in his mid-20s. I have two grandsons that one is about 14 weeks. And the other one will be 3 this month. And
Wow.
So for me, it's been really, really important. I've been fortunate and blessed to have my father in my life. My parents are still married. They've been married for over 40 years.
Wow.
They've never been separated that I know of. You know what I mean? Unless they, come back to the house when the kids come for holidays. I mean, I don't know. But honestly, it's I've had some very, very good influences. And so I believe that that's key to be a good influence. Everybody can't be a role model or a mentor. They don't necessarily have that skill set. So to just have men, that may be dealing with things themselves, to go and try to mentor some, kids that also have some issues that they're dealing with, is not always safe. And I think that's typically an uncomfortable conversation, because yes, there's men. Yes, there's lots of men out there, and yes, we can do better. But at the same time, we have to be careful in what we're infusing and what we're pouring into our youth. Sometimes that support system doesn't look like what we may think, because there's growth within us that has to happen. So all that being said, I just think that it's key that we continue to grow. as individuals, and we acknowledge that we don't have all the answers, and that, you know, we're still navigating, because we may be going through or coming out of, you know, my philosophy is three things that people go through: either you're in the middle of something, you're about to go through something, or you're just coming out of it. You know, so we have to be cognizant of that, as well, and just kind of know that, you know, support doesn't always look like what we may think, because we put ourselves in a position that we don't need to be in, and then we're pouring or attempting to pour into, you know, our youth, even other young adults or adults, and we have a lot of work to do. And so what happens when something happens, now it's like, okay, well, why would you tell me all these things that you're not practicing, or why are you telling me to do these things that you've never done before? And now I'm looking at you a certain type of way, and now there's distrust in someone that there should have never been, you know, that type of interaction, you know, in that situation. But you know, more important, I think that right now that we are doing a better job. This things that has happened has brought us together. You know, I think relationships are extremely important now, more than ever. Communication even more, even more, because we need to express and be able to express how we feel about things. Allow a safe, you know, haven for our kids and our youth to be able to talk to us, because you have to think about it. You know, I'm a 70s baby, and I always feel that's the best. But, you know, I'm a 70s baby, so we were known for, you know, creeping out the windows, and when the parents go to sleep,
Hey,
we
hold,
slide.
flags, flags,
So,
flags, flags.
so
I'm still a kid. My dad is
as
on
men,
here.
as men, now you coming out the window, that's between y'all and use. But as men, you know, we have to set a new standard. And the last thing that I want to say, is we do have to set a new standard. We're not necessarily just at a, you know, we're not at a war with law enforcement and politicians and things like that. We're at a war with people, people that have a learned behavior of not liking other people for whatever reason, whether it was taught, whether they were convinced now, whether they're being misled, bamboozled. You know the rule. You know how it go. And so that's how we have to look at it, and stop attacking certain certain sections of it. You know, we have to improve ourselves. Everybody knows that they have to improve, but we have to upgrade ourselves. We have to set a new standard, and it begins with us, because regardless of what we say, kids, children, other people, they look at what we do.
Yes.
You know, and that's what it's going to boil down to. And so, and you know, even with my son, he's in his mid-20s. You know, there were certain things that I didn't experience when I was younger, but I needed to learn how to do it and experience as an adult, to be able to teach him and add to his culture. Like, it's not too late because you're 25, 30, 40 years
Right.
old to learn culture, you know, to set a new standard. So my son, 20 plus, you know, 20 something years old, we're business partners. You know, we're actual business partners. And that's something that, you know, I've dreamed of being able to do. And it's something that he honors and he appreciates, and he looks forward to doing that with his son. And, you know, that's something that will carry over, just by that example. Maybe other fathers or stepfathers, uncles, you know, grandpops, and you know, I'm a granddaddy. You know, we don't like to be called granddaddies. We granddaddies. You're not gonna call us out our name. So, you know, so that's the thing. You know, accountability, respect, honor, and just setting a new standard, and that will be across the board, regardless of who and what you're talking to.
Okay, so I love it. You gave us like some great insight. All of you guys have been, you guys have been on the real. We've talked about domestic violence, because you know it shot through the roof during the pandemic. We've talked about just talked about health. We've talked about how we look at ourselves, or how young guys should look at themselves as kings, and those actual thoughts that should happen. Terrell gave us an insight into it, not talking about us physically. And we got our officer righteous who told us where we need to be sitting and looking. And so now I'm going to hire you guys for this section. I'm going to hire you. Are you ready? This is a great task. You're going to be hired, and you are one cohesive consultant team. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is the task. The task is that you are building a day for a young man that is facing the pandemic. You are building a day, meaning, so let me give you a little example. When I get up in the morning, because I am, do you see that? I'm working on that, okay? All right? Don't let it make you nervous. It's just, my health journey, all right? I'm working on it, Dr. Riggins. So when I get up, first thing I do is I take my detox tea, do my squats, I get my little weights. This is practical what I do. My thought pattern is I want to be healthy, but my practical habit is I'm going to hit the floor and start with that. Are you with me? So I'm going to ask you, as a practical day, what does a young king need to have in his day? Starting, Dr. Riggins, with you, what does he need to have in his day, every day, that's going to help him to fight, to win through the pandemic?
Well, first of all, he's going to need to understand that to be able to fight during the pandemic, he has to have his immune system intact, firing on all cylinders.
Okay.
Wash your hands, have non-alcohol based hand sanitizer that lasts for up to 4 hours.
Okay.
Strengthen your immune system by vitamin D, zinc, laughter. It's been shown that laughter helps to improve your immune system.
Mm-hmm.
So he's watching up in the mirror. I'm such a pretty somebody. Oh yeah, he's having a good time. He's building himself up. He's getting ready to get out here and face this world that doesn't like him. Okay, so he's eating the right foods. He's eating, the fruits. He's taking his vitamins. He's ready to go. He's gonna wear his mask. He's out there. He understands he's not supposed to be in groups, large groups. So he goes and he stays functional, stays focused. He's ready to go. Brushing his teeth, he's getting his hair. He's ready to go. Now, when he's out there, he behaves in a way where he avoids those little trips and potential trips and whole potholes, so to speak, to where he could trip and fall. Oh, my boys want to come and go. Hey, man, let's go to McDonald's. Let's hang out. No. I'm focused. I'm a king. I got somewhere to be. I got something to do. Y'all go on. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So he got his mind right. He's got his body right because he's eating. He's healthy. He's got his immune system going. And now he's about his mission in life. What is he here to do? What is he here to be? Why did God put you here? What is your assignment, on planet Earth? Stay focused, because kings oftentimes have to walk alone.
Okay.
They don't hang.
All right. So we took our vitamins. We're ready. All right. Terrell, what thoughts is he going to say to himself besides he's so pretty? All right. What else is he going to say to himself this morning that establishes his kingship?
He's got a song that came out. It's called "Stay in Motion." Got to tell himself to stay in motion, which basically is just a little catchphrase for the path that I'm on. Stay on it through the hardships, through the struggles, through the obstacles, and the challenges that today brings. The path that I'm on, I got on and God set me on because the end of it is my goal. And so as long as I keep moving, regardless of what's on that path, if I can get to the end of it, I'll get to my goal. And so I would tell them to stay in motion, keep going. Don't stop. Don't let it stop. Don't let anything stop you.
I
Yeah,
got it. All right. All right.
that's
So
the vibe.
we have fed our immune system. We have established that no matter what happens during this day, we're not stopping because we have a goal at the end. Now, I'm going to flip back to you, Doc, because I need to know what is he eating. It's lunchtime because we don't go past lunchtime. We're not trying to do that. It's lunchtime. What is he eating in his day that's going to speak to same path of health righteousness?
Well, I'll tell you, plant-based diet is really the best way to go, and more of us are moving to that. Don't know if that's available in the schools he might be in, but if there are, grilled as opposed to fried foods, vegetables as opposed to a lot of starches and sugary foods, those are the things he needs to basically consume to help his body function and fire on all cylinders. Um, Also, with his mind, Terrell made me think about something. You know, you all some might not know, but I'm mild mannered Murray Riggins medical doctor by day, but I'm Riggy Rock, the funky doc at night. And I have a song, I'm a man, grown man. And one of the lyrics in the song is a little rap, and it goes, I'm no better than nobody, but ain't nobody better than me. It's in my DNA. I'm just made that way, you see. Don't mistake my kindness for weakness, my focus for meanness. I'm just clear on what I have to do. And that's the thing that he needs to focus on as he's going through his day, making choices, not potato chips. No, I'm gonna get some fruit. I'm not gonna get the candy bar. I'm gonna get, things like that. It's gonna help feed his body, which is a machine, the most marvelous machine in the world. And that's what he has to constantly be vigilant and keep in his head, because that's what he has to
Okay,
do.
Officer Righteous, thank you. Thank you for lunchtime. All right, now, Officer Righteous, we have made it through the day. We know that we have to get home. What is something that we can do, your young king can do in the community to connect positively during his day? Maybe in his school community, maybe in his getting home community. What can he do positively to connect? What did he do that day?
Something that I love to do. Miss Nikki does it a lot. I'm about to hire your dad because I know he can rap. I love this guy now. But encourage someone. Encouragement pushes you and pushes the person beside you. It's all about this team. We keep talking about a village. All you have is your name. And if I die today, if somebody can just say, hey, that guy, that brother, every time I saw him, he encouraged me to be the best person I could be every day. Just go throughout the day and encourage each other to do the best that they can do, the best they can do, be the best person they can be. Nikki pushed me so much. Rob pushes me a lot. This whole conference call is pushing me to be a better person anyway. So I love this, but just encourage the person beside you to be a better person.
Okay, so let me put that in teenage terms then, and let me challenge you a little bit more, because I may not want to be that teen. Oh yeah, go right. So what how can how could your son encourage someone and still stay in the character of kingship? Like, what does it have to come a certain way? Could he encourage with just a word? Could he encourage an act of kindness? Could he
You ain't gonna like
encourage
my
with,
answer.
huh? Yeah. Well,
I say you're not
what's
gonna
some
like my answer. They're
ways?
not gonna like my answer, but it's gonna be okay though.
Okay, tell me the answer.
It be It's always being different.
Okay.
You have to be okay being different. A king, I think 2.0 said it, or Olabi, however we want to do it. King Olabi, I don't think he said it. And it's your name is gonna be great. My dad told me, and on my way to middle school, I still remember, like he told me yesterday. I feel like he probably just told me today or something. Is don't mess up my name. That's all we got. And I was like, what that mean? He said, you mess up my name, I'll let you know what that means. But your name, your last name is all you have. So just, you have to be different. A king walks different. A king talks different. A king dresses different. You won't catch me. Well, you caught me today on this little t-shirt, but my wife made this t-shirt, y'all. But
Yes, she
so
did.
besides that,
We're
you gonna
promoting
have
the
me
brand.
in a suit. You gonna catch me in a suit, hairbrush, fingernails good, lotioned up. I'm gonna look different. My appearance is gonna be different. So for every young man, don't be, or male, female, don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to look different. Because there is a stereotype, and if we are looking for a stereotype, be outside of that box.
I love it, and that's really where I wanted you to make sure that we land, to say that you might not. I think you don't want to be considered the quote unquote corny kid or whatever, however you want to put it, but that kingship looks different. That's so. Thank you very much. And I want to say to you, on a note for who you are, Officer Wright. I have seen your testimony in that, and even in my own, as part of my village, which I did not realize until this exact moment. But you were a great part of my village in encouraging my daughters for excellence. And I want to say it very plainly, because I'm a single mommy with good looking daughters, however you want to say that, and they are commodities, and they are at risk in the community, and they are especially at risk
Right.
sometimes with grown male humans that can't walk in Home Depot before we have to attest whether I'm going to be wearing orange before we get out of here. Okay, so it was very,
You
it was a
only wear
very
orange if you get caught, Valencia.
well. You're right, but it's always a
And
challenge.
yeah,
But
no, yeah, only wear orange if you get caught. You're not hearing me, but yeah, yeah.
I heard you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't intend to get
something my
caught,
daddy taught me.
but listen, but I shouldn't even have to battle that with them. That grown men would approach them and approach grown women. So I have to say to you, Officer Wright, thank you for your absolute, unequivocal, and full of integrity support of my daughter. I could cry right now, seriously and seriously. And so you are living the testimony that you're talking about. All right, so we just encouraging everybody,
Thank you.
not crying because the encouragement happened. So
So Donald, so
yeah,
so after you we've encouraged everybody, we've
yes.
gotten through
What's
lunch,
the next
encouraged
one?
everybody. So now we have to figure out, what do we do before we're getting ready to kind of wind our day down. Now we're back
Yes.
home. And then we'll swing back around to you, Gigi, while Valencia is getting herself back together, because she's really gonna cry in real life. So how are we preparing our minds for our mission, to stay on our mission? Because now we're back home. So before we wind our day down, we gotta figure out how we're planning our day for tomorrow.
Yes.
To stay on our journey, to stay on our path, to stay in our purpose. And so, well, for the men, how to do that, because I too am a single mommy. I am blessed to have a village that is like none other. My village is phenomenal, and it's full of kings, from the godparents, the godfathers, to the grandfathers, and the uncles, and the 1,001 uncles that my kids have. But I am still a single mommy. So what would be that advice that you give to that king, for that? Okay, I'm home now.
For the
My
evening.
day is come for the young king.
For the evening. What does he do?
For the evening.
Definitely get in the house, love on everybody that's in the house, because you never know how far they go. You never know what type of day everyone in the house had. So definitely, in the sense of a fatherless home, go love on mom. Hey mom, I love you. Let me hear about your day. Let me tell you about some things I've encountered and how I've overcome them. Let me even get your insight on how to handle a few things. If we have sisters, love on them, show them, hey, I love you, I got your back, I'm here with you. listen, what you get accomplished today, just talk to them, because we failed to realize how important communication is
Ah,
in the home.
yes.
It's a big portion that carries on throughout generations. It was a few weeks ago that my children reminded me that I taught them to embrace everybody that comes into the house. Something that you know, it's not big, but it shows, hey, I love you, I care for you. Obviously, if you're coming in my house, you know, it's important enough for me to love on you. So in that same vein, let me love on you. Let me spend some time with you, the ones that are here with me, that sees me in my best and my worst, that sees me when I just
Ah,
know, because it's important, because you never know what they may be able to say to get you over a hump. If you haven't accomplished everything in your day, you're feeling down about something, you encountered something that might have been just a little too tough, but you know, just to go in the house and be able to do that is ideal all the way around. Now, we are at the latter part of the day. um, I would have preferred this a little bit earlier in the day, but a little meditation time, a little time to, I don't want to call it refocus, but if you believe in God or a higher power, however you see it, spend time with Him in these moments. Say, hey, God, let me give you your due diligence. Let me say thank you to you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to be. Um, Secondly, then regroup for the next day. Begin to process, hey, I did have these things to do and they weren't accomplished, or I got 75% of this done. So does this need to be on the top of the list for tomorrow? But prioritize for the next day. And then last but not least, definitely start working on closing out that day, because we fail to realize sometimes we don't remember anything because we have everything running together. And if you don't have any distinction of this is the end of this day and then this is the beginning of the next, you never see a difference. And you draw yourself to more tiredness because you never draw the distinction. So I close out this day saying, I'm about to rest. My mind is going to be at ease. I got to prepare my mind, my body, my temple for the next day. So those are the next things that I would put in line. Um, Everybody's regiment for the evening time is a little different. If you're going to, well, my thing is, as a young king, 9 times out of 10, men, you can attest, if you're in that 11, 12, 13-year-old range, your body odors are all over the place. So definitely jump into the shower, um, refresh yourself that way, wash the day off, and then begin to prepare yourself to rest, which we oftenly don't do, young or old nowadays, because we always have these devices in our hand talking about, oh, I got to catch up. Hold on, put it down, separate yourself. And then from there, go into rest.
I love it. So, G, we're going to have you. Thank you so much. You guys have a perfect day going. G, I'm going to ask you the question. You've meditated. You did everything. I don't know. We talked a little bit about how hygiene, washing, brushing teeth, all that whole thing. How do you rest? Is the question, Gigi. How do you rest?
How do you rest? Okay, great question. All of those things that the gentleman, that the Kings said, definitely are important to do. You can mix and match some things. One of the things that I did want to mention that will go into, how do you rest is, you have to make sure that you have daily goals. If you don't have daily goals, you don't know what you've accomplished that day. If you don't accomplish those, you can't celebrate, and that's a part that I want to get to. You've made it through the day. You've accomplished, some goals. Sometimes we can't get everything off the checklist, but we've made it home. We're blessed to have an opportunity to, share, with family and communicate and unpack feelings, of course. So rest is so important that you also have to include that there was some type of regimen. I think it's important that you have some type of regimen of exercise, of physical exercise, especially as young men. Young men sometimes they get, they don't get the credit for, certain activities unless they're playing basketball or football or, or track or something like that. But, there's certain exercises that I think that everybody should do, and especially a young king, and that'll actually help him rest. So I would recommend that he does, he could do some push-ups, he can do some sit-ups.
Okay.
This is prior to the shower, unless you want to go to bed musty and wake up musty. That happens too. But if you can do that, that'll help you mentally. It also releases the hormones that we need to help with resting. Doc, you can confirm, but it releases the things that we need to kind of help, to kind of help us move along that day, and it should wear us out a little bit and finish us off for the day. But all I can do is piggyback off of the Kings. You gotta be thankful. You gotta give thanks. And then you have to give yourself some credit for accomplishing those things, and it's okay to do that. So you should have some type of reward, some type of daily reward that you give yourself because you've set goals and you've accomplished them. And you definitely need to have your prayer life together. I'm a man of faith, and so you have to appreciate and thank a higher power. And to me, that's just so important because when you give thanks, you're appreciative, you're grateful. You've been able to accept love and give love. You could definitely sleep a lot better because your mind is at rest and is at peace.
I love it. You guys, you kings. Thank you. As a young lady in the room, I want to say thank you. I feel very blessed to have gone through a day of taking care of my immune system, setting my intent. I see how I'm not a mom of a king, but I see how that king could get up and speak to his health and then look at his mindset. I see how he would come back and make sure he's eating that vegan lifestyle, get some of that health. I see how he would talk about just encouraging another person and being different and being okay with being different. I see how he would speak to his whole set of meditation and that healthy part of himself, and then coming back, shutting everything down, turning everything off, Gigi, before he get, he had that little workout, and then making sure he does his hygiene and turning everything off to rest. That is a perfect snapshot that you guys just gave. So, as in the spirit of congratulations and in the spirit of accomplishment, congratulate yourself because you just gave us a perfect formula for making it through a pandemic, social and physical. So, thank you. So, give yourselves a hand. I know you might not give you a hand. Give you a hand. Thank you for sharing. So I'm going to put this in the hands of the Queen to empower us out with her voice and say, Nikki, thank you for inviting all the kings in the room, and thank you. I have enjoyed being part of this family. So, what are your last thoughts, ma'am?
Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you to everybody. Thank you, Dr. Valencia, Dream Keeper.
Yes.
Yes, Dream Keepers is a wonderful thing, and we've given keys throughout this entire conversation. We've given all kinds of keys, and that's one of the reasons why I partnered with her with this, is because the goal is to give people keys that they can use later. And I would like to thank Officer Righteous for joining us today. And representing his wife's brand. Thank you very much for making sure that you were in the brand. Always advertise anytime that we have a chance to. So thank you very much. I didn't even have to tell you. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy. Thank you 2.0 for joining us. I know you are dealing with newborn, 14 weeks old So y'all are still doing a whole lot of adjusting. So thank you for taking the time to join us.
And he's awake. And he's awake.
And he's awake. That's a miracle. I keep watching my phone because I keep getting text messages that I might be joining Gigi in this grandparent role relatively soon. But thank you for joining us, Robert, Gigi, and taking the time to share with us. This was amazing that we had generations here. We have, and thank you, Donald Burrell, father of 5 sons. God bless you. Because the one son that I have, good Lord, I love my son, but I don't know how you deal with multiples of you men are very interesting. But my final thank you has to go to the best daddy on the side of heaven. He is the greatest father that I have ever experienced, and I only have one, so I might be biased, but the best daddy in the whole wide world, Dr. Murray J. Riggins Jr. And I thank you, Daddy, for being on and bringing some of the lessons that the big rig, my grandfather, taught him, and then my dad has since taught, and then the grandparent in him, and then great grandparent, because you're a great grandparent, Daddy.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Daddy, you're a great grandparent. You have to, yes, you have to embrace this. My dad has a running joke that he is the he's no longer aging. We are now older than him.
We don't know how it happened. It's a medical miracle.
I know. I saw that video. I believe him.
Daddy is just that. So I would like to thank everybody. Reality Checks is and our Counsel of Kings and Counsel of Queens. So it's the counsel spelled correctly because we're getting the advice of kings and the advice of queens of different fields and different topics. This one just happened to be something that I couldn't wait on because it was really, really pressing, and with everything that's going on, and we are just, anytime you turn on social media, the TV, anytime you talk to another human being, you are either dealing with COVID-19 or somehow some type of social unrest. And that's just what's going on since 2020 came in, and 2020 has just done its own little thing that's changed up. But we will be continuing to have the Counsel of Kings and the Counsel of Queens, and sometimes they'll be joined together. And so we'll have some kings and some queens on the same panel. But we'll be doing this once a month starting in September. Nice. And we have kits that'll be available for purchase because we will be doing activities. We have some games that we're doing. We're partnering with some other companies, some other small businesses. So we have some trivia games that we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be doing some relationship things, conversations. With and so we'll be doing some Counsel of Kings and Counsel of Queens there. And we'll be doing some marriage or long-term relationship conversations. So yes, Daddy, get prepared. You're coming back for that. Yeah, great. Glad you agree. That's kind of how we do this. I just kind of, hey, Daddy, can you do this? And he just comes on. Gotta love the support of a father. And so, but we will be definitely supporting other small businesses, and we'll have some other kings and some other queens. So we pretty much have the lineup set up through March, but we have a few slots open. So if you're watching the replay and you would like to be a part of the conversation, or you would like to be part of the council, yes, call us. Well, actually, don't call me because I probably won't answer the phone because I'm in this whole grandmother thing that's going on right now. So I don't want to tell you no lies, but you can shoot me an email.
There you go.
At info@realitycheck, E as in Edward, Z as in zebra.com. And we will send you the link to get you on, get your information, and make sure that you are a part of the Counsel of Queens. So or Counsel of Kings, Counsel of Queens, and then the joint councils. but yes, our next one will be the last Tuesday in September, and it'll be the last Tuesday of the month moving forward. But I'll put out that calendar soon, as well as the information for you to sign up if you want to purchase some of the kits. So you see the crown that Dr. Valencia is wearing. What I have on the pin, one of the pins that on right now. We have a whole bunch of stuff. Officer Righteous's wife, her small business makes all of our kits, so she has all this wonderful stuff planned. Gentlemen, I have things for you all, even though you all said you all didn't want anything.
I don't recall.
You don't recall saying that? Yeah, I asked you if you wanted a crown, and you said no, you weren't gonna wear a crown.
I probably did. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, I asked if y'all were gonna wear a crown, and you said no.
Yeah.
So
I rock the crown.
thank you, Daddy. So I'll send you a crown.
It's very nice, sir. Actually,
I have a male version of the crown too, but none of you I wanted to wear a crown. I asked Officer Righteous, he told me no. 2.0 told me he was not walking around looking like Burger King. So
a king has to be willing to go alone.
Okay. Well, I got some crowns that you all will wear. So I figured it out. I figured it out. I got it covered. Well, actually, I didn't figure it out. What is it? CZ Creations is figuring it out, and she has it. Yeah, she had it all taken care of. That's the beauty of partnering. So so we just want to thank everybody.
I don't really have a say, so I'm gonna do whatever.
Yeah, great. Glad you agree. Yeah, wonderful. Glad you agree. So thank you everybody for participating. Thanks, Dr. V. Thank everybody for this advice. This will be available on Facebook Live, on the Reality Checks page, and the Reality Checks YouTube. And then it'll also be available on the website. Probably tomorrow. I think it takes 24 hours for it to update. So
I have one more thing for them, Nikki. So
and we got to find out what everybody does before we leave.
Exactly.
And what they got going on.
Really, really quickly, I want you to give me one little snippet of something that you're involved in that you want somebody to pay attention to, and then I'm going to give you a challenge after that. Okay, so let's start with you, Officer Righteous. What's going on in your world?
Ooh, creating more businesses and making sure I do more than Nikki. That's what's going on right now.
Okay, I like that.
Come on.
You can just make sure you send her information that you want us. If you want us to be part of your mailing list or whatever, at some point we'll route it through her. Okay, we'll make sure that we're present. All right, Terrell, what's next? What's hot on off the presses?
All right, so I have just released a project, EP called 22.0, and I am currently working on the full length version of that. I got a goal of a Grammy nomination. I ain't gonna lie to you. So I'm taking a little bit of time. I've been working on the project for about 8 months, and we're about 80% there. See if
we're actually a little bit further along than you think.
Okay, all right. Well, cool. I'm with it. So that's what I'm working on, as well as fatherhood has had me take a step back from some of my activism. I do a lot of stuff. I go to the prisons regularly. I'm actually licensed to I could be a chaplain. I can go into any correctional facility in the state of Georgia. So I kind of backed off on some of that stuff with the COVID as well. I also go to the homeless shelter frequently, and I'm real active in my city. I wrote a song called "For My City," so I mean that. But that's pretty much who I am and what I do. I'm not just an artist and a producer and an engineer, but I'm an actual businessman, or I have a music business. And so I'm constantly educating myself and learning. And eventually, I'll probably end up in a consultation or management position, and I have a label already. But we, and then I also teach tennis. I wasn't gonna mention it because people act like you can't be great at more than one thing. But yeah, I actually play professional tennis, and so I got classes going, and I'm building that business as well. I got off the plantation. I could be making probably about 6 more figures, or at least 5 more figures than what I do, but I would have to sacrifice my time with my family and my dignity to do it, and I just don't want to do that no more. So but
I like
that's where I'm at.
I like it. You did. First of all, I'm going to get my dress tomorrow for the Grammys. Don't act like you don't know me once that happens.
I won't.
Second of all, we need a website. And wait, second of all, thank you for letting encouraging people to use all of their talents, because I think that's how God means it. And third of all, website.
Okay. The website is a link tree. And my name is 2POINT 0 TNT. So the number 2, the word point, the number 0, and then TNT. And
Got
you
it.
do
Can you
that
put it in the
with
chat?
yeah, I absolutely will.
Well, or in the
Um,
comments on Facebook? Could you put it in the
Yes.
comments on Facebook? And
Put it
it'll
in the strand
transfer
for us.
in the stream. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, Mr. Burrell, what's going on in your life?
Outside of being a father, I'm also a photographer, and I'm here in Atlanta trying to definitely ensure that my photography takes off. Be Candid Photography, you know, very modest beginnings with it, but we're starting to take off slowly but surely. Able to do anything from family photography, product photography. Uh,
Headshots,
Say that again.
professional headshots.
Professional headshots. I forgot about those guys. um, Website coming soon, but I can be caught on Facebook and Instagram by Be Candid Photography. You can follow me there at Be Candid Photography. They're both there and ready to go. I'm able to serve you in whatever capacity you need. We'll do a consultation first and then go from there. On top of that, being very active in church as a minister of the gospel as well.
Thank you very much. Please make sure you put that information in our strand as well. Very glad to meet you in that. Gigi, what's going on after dark?
That's where you want to go? Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun, even though we talked about some serious topics and
Right.
subjects. I had a good time. Kings, I'm honored to share the opportunity to, let folks know what's really going on. So that being said, I have to say that what I want to promote the most right now is the nonprofit that's based out of here in Atlanta, which is Keeping Veterans Fit. The website is www.keepingveteransfit.org. I will put that information in there. And basically, the organization helps veteran and veteran families transition, whether it's mental, physical health, housing, helping you with your disability, getting your DD 214 form, which is your discharge form. And we've been able to, we actually had a fundraiser, but we've been able to, get some donations to help some families out through the pandemic. Our organization is also presenting to a church this Sunday, and we'll be giving out $50 gift cards to that church for, I believe, 27 families, and that have obviously been affected by the pandemic. Also, digital, with the digital learning. So, those are, to help with printers, supplies, whatever you can do to run up that card to $50. All right, so choose wisely. And so, so that's been a blessing to be able to do that, even through everything that's going on. For those of you that don't know, I do have a platform where I talk about just the dialogue between men and women. We talk about pretty much anything and everything. So you can check that out. I have some content on ggafterdark.com, and I'll put that on there. It's very entertaining. So you definitely want to buckle up before you get involved. And that being said, I'm just thankful and grateful for the opportunity.
I love it. Thank you so much.
That after
All right.
dark thing was for real.
Yeah, it was for real. It's for you just thought I was brilliant like that? No, but I do think I'm kind of brilliant like you get it.
What you got going on, Doc?
Dr. Murray. So besides the band.
So let me pause. Let me jump in here. So I no, for real. Those of you who know me and know that I do sound and do audio, that would be that man right there, that Dr. Murray, because I grew up with him doing music where he made a choice. And I'm thankful every day, Daddy, that you made this choice. That he had the choice to finish medical school or sign a music a contract with a label. I personally am thankful that he finished medical school because he had, I think, 4 kids and was trying to decide what he wanted to do. But shouts out to the IGG band that existed when I was like probably 1. And Daddy had to make that decision to sign with Mercury or finish at Meharry. And I am thankful, Daddy, that you decided to finish at Meharry.
So that's the M, huh?
Yeah, look, but he did. So for those who are the standard of music and my sound engineering side of my life, that comes from him. So when I tell people either you're gonna do it in excellence or not at all, thank Dr. Riggins. That came from him. Those were his words.
Thank you.
All right, Doc, you're the last thing smoking. Tell us what's going on.
Well, I got 2 things. You can check me out at docriggins.com. I put it in the chat, and that's to help with the non-alcohol based hand sanitizer I'm trying to get out into the world because the CDC got it wrong. And just now, I think it's starting to come out how they shouldn't have been promoting alcohol based hand sanitizers in the pandemic. That's just one thing. So you can get them I have a little video and I talk about it, and you can sign up and get that information. And then I just dropped a video as Riggy Rock. It's called Whitewash, and it talks about the social injustice and it gives us a clue to a strategy that we can use to get past this. So I put in the link for my YouTube video for that. So like 2.0 says, there are a lot of things I do. I want to have like 7 streams of income. So it's just something I love to do, and exactly. It's therapy for me, and hopefully it'll be enjoying for other people. So check out the chat, check everything out, and hit me up if you need me. All right.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for your counsel, all of the beautiful, solid advice. Thank you for taking us through a day. And thank you, above all, thank you for being kings that can pass the mantle of kingship to someone else. So we really appreciate you and we honor you today. So have a beautiful, beautiful evening from Reality Check's Empowerment Zone. We welcome you to come back at next time, and we thank you for your service today. Have a great night.
Thank you. Take care.
Good night, guys.